Learning that one of the Navy's nuclear-powered submarines hit an underwater object in the South China Sea last Saturday. 11 sailors on board were injured, and the Navy says the sub is fully operational. Ramy Inocencio is with us in Hong Kong. Ramy, good morning.
Nate, good morning. That's right. U.S. military officials are saying that they waited 5 days before going public with this news in order to maintain operational security. Now, the sub in question is a USS Connecticut. It's classified as a Seawolf-class fast attack submarine. And in a statement, the U.S. Pacific Fleet says it's in safe and stable condition, that its nuclear propulsion plant was not impacted, and no one sustained life-threatening injuries. Now, this incident, though, of course, is happening at a time of high tensions between Beijing and Washington, just weeks after the U.S. and the U.K. signed a deal to supply nuclear-powered subs to Australia, and really just days after China sent a record number of military aircraft near Taiwan. China today expressed grave concerns, urging the U.S. to give details about the sub's mission and questioning whether it may have caused a nuclear leak under the sea. As for the USS Connecticut, it was last reported to be making its way to the U.S. territory of Guam. U.S. military officials say that it did not hit another submarine, but it might have hit some kind of container or some kind of submerged vessel. The U.S., of course, says it will continue to investigate.
Taiwan marked its National Day with flags, fanfare, and defiance. The island's president, Tsai Ing-wen, vowing Taiwan will not be forced to bow to China. Taiwan is standing on the front line of defending democracy, she said. China has long viewed Taiwan as its own national territory. China's President Xi Jinping on Saturday all but declaring it policy. The complete reunification of our country must be and will be realized, he said. China has been pushing that point, and tension to historic new highs. In the past week, sending nearly 150 warplanes into Taiwan's air defense zone, forcing Taiwan's fighter jets to scramble, missile systems to deploy.
At some point, there's going to be a miscalculation, and that would be dangerous for the entire region.
U.S. officials say they're concerned by all the provocation here and warn China against hostile pressure.
This is about China increasingly challenging American primacy in this part of the world, but also threatening to displace the values that define us.
Officially, the U.S. doesn't take sides in the dispute over Taiwan, but just approved a $750 million arms sale to the island. There are reports of training, too, with American troops, including a Special Operations Unit, and U.S. Marines said to be stationed on Taiwan for over a year. Taiwan is now seen as a central issue for President Biden, who will meet with Xi Jinping in a virtual summit before the end of the year. For now, military confrontation over Taiwan probably isn't imminent, but it's also not impossible.
A report of a Chinese missile test which shows progress with an advanced weapon called a hypersonic missile. Our foreign correspondent James Longman is tracking the story from London. Good morning, James.
Yeah, good morning, George. This demonstrates a huge step forward in China's military capability, and it's understood that US intelligence had no idea that China had moved this far ahead. Now, all this is according to a report Britain's Financial Times newspaper, and they say that this summer, China managed to launch a nuclear-capable hypersonic missile. They launched it into space. It circled the Earth before cruising towards its target. Now, these missiles, they can travel at 5 times the speed of sound. They can fly lower than conventional missiles, and they can also be maneuvered in the air, which makes them very difficult to trace. So, bottom line, all this essentially means China is close to being able to launch a nuclear warhead against any other nation without any warning, and there'd be no defense against it. As you might expect, China is denying all this. They say it wasn't even a hypersonic missile. It was actually a routine test to verify reusable technology. But this test was shrouded in secrecy back in the summer. The US and Russia also tried to develop this kind of technology, but I think it's fair to say China is well ahead in this particular weapons race. It's understood the missile actually landed some 25 miles away from its intended target, but it seems like it's only a matter of time before they have a significant advantage over the United States. George.
James Longman, thanks very much.
Well, hey there.
All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahawah, YAHAWAHSHI, Rakah, and double honors to the apostles and elders that I learned this truth from, the men at GMS and the brethren with the like-minded doctrine. You just seen from the video show, right? That's a lot of from the news videos. That's a lot of tension going on over there. You know, which brings to mind this scripture at Joel, the 3rd chapter, starting at the 9th verse. It reads, "Proclaim you this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong." And you seen what China got. China just, they assuming that they got this hypersonic ballistic missile, you know. So and also, Iran has nuclear capability. That was earlier this year. So all this is building up to the to the the to the to the war that ends all wars, the third war, which is the war Armageddon, the war that's going to gather in the battle in Jehoshaphat, roughly paraphrasing. I'm not sure if that's in this chapter or not, but yeah, that's it, man. We here like the third war. That war is right there, man. Like all this tension, it's been tension ever since that guy Trump been there, man. And it's not going anywhere. Like, yeah, it's right here. It's like, yeah. Joel 3 and chapter 2. I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will plead with them plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So that's the reason why all this is based upon the controversy of Israel. All this going on, this war tension, and all these things, these calamities and events, the famine, the natural disasters, the the earthquakes and volcanoes, and strange weather patterns, the famines, the droughts. All of this is you know, the wickedness at a high level. All of this is telltale signs of the end, that we living in the last seconds, that the Messiah, that Hamashiach YAHAWAHSHI, gave us signs to look for his own return. So yeah, I hope this lesson will edify, and I'm not trying to make it too long. I want to say, call Halayim La Yahawah, by Hashem YAHAWAHSHI, by Hashem Rakakadash, and Shalom to the next time. Yahweh Ratazah, which means Lord willing, and Wah Abba Babor.